Good afternoon, students. Today we're going to be talking about and learning about a program called GarageBand. Now, the version that we're going to be using is GarageBand 8. And I'm going to be basically giving you a basic tutorial today which shows you the interface and what the different buttons do and just some basic things that you can do with the program. The program is used for recording live sound as well as using samples and loops, and it can also be used for editing pre-existing pre-recorded music. So the first thing you want to do is bring your mouse up to here where it says Create New Music Project. And once you do that, it's going to by default give it a My Song and whatever number. So we're just going to keep that for now. You can retitle it something later. You don't need to really worry about this information down here yet. Tempo, key signature, things like that, beats per minute, those types of things can all be altered later on. So once I hit create, it's going to bring up the main screen along with the keyboard here. This is a MIDI keyboard, which if you press on it with the mouse, will play different notes, as you can see. We're going to just move this out of the way for now, and I'm going to move this up a little bit, give us a little more room to work with. And we're going to start about talking about this section here in the top left corner where it says Tracks. In this top left corner, we're going to split our songs up into what are called tracks. And I want you to think of a track as if you were to listen to a professional recording of music, you would have different tracks, each track being a different instrument. In modern day recordings, most recordings are done where each instrument is recorded separately so that they can basically get each track to the point of perfection. So there are different types of tracks that we can use within GarageBand. Now this by default is giving us a piano track. Now this is going to be a MIDI file which we can, if we were to play using the keyboard below or using an external keyboard, we can use the sounds that are built into GarageBand. And there's all different types of sounds like piano and strings and drums and bass and whatever sound you choose to use. But we're going to use this right now just to show you what some of these different buttons are. If you look at the track here, the very first button here, it says Enable or Disable Recording for the track. So if I want to record on this track, I'm going to make sure that that red button is lit up like it just was. By going down here and pressing this record button on the bottom of the screen, it says Start or Stop Recording when I hover over it. That's going to now enable me to record on track number 1. We're not going to do that just yet. All right, now moving back up to these buttons over here under our first track, we have this little button here that is showing a mute or unmute the track. That is for playback. So once you have something recorded on that track, you can either mute or unmute that track, whether you want to listen to it or not. This next button here, which looks like a little set of headphones, it says solo or unsolo the track. When that is lit up, it's going to basically make it so it's almost the opposite of muting. It's going to make it so that track by itself will play and no other tracks will play. So again, the mute button causes you to silence a track. The solo button allows you to play just that track. And again, if nothing is clicked, all of them will play. Okay, the next button, it says click to lock or unlock the track. Locking protects regions from being edited and renders the track to the hard drive, freeing up processing power. This is really convenient when you're working on a certain track and you don't need this one to necessarily be ready to record. By locking it, you're going to save CPU power. So in other words, the memory, the RAM in the computer is freed up now. So it's going to make the other things run smoother. So when there's tracks that you're not currently using, it's good to lock them. For one, you don't accidentally record over something that you want to keep. And number two, again, it's going to free up things on your computer so that it runs smoother. This button right here is going to allow you to later individually change the track volume throughout the track. Okay, so I'm going to close that for a moment. We're not going to worry about that just yet. Over here is the track volume. This is an overall track volume. This one over here is going to allow you at certain points to raise the volume and then lower the volume. So again, we're not going to use that one for now. Here's our overall volume for the track. And here we have what's called a pan knob, and this is going to allow you to make the sound come out more to the left speaker or more to the right speaker or dead in the center if you wish it to be dead in the center. So we're going to leave it right in the center for now. Moving down to the bottom of the screen, here we go. We're going to see some of these buttons to the bottom left. These are very convenient buttons. This one right here, this slider, this is going to allow you to actually zoom in and zoom out. Now, you might not be noticing much of a difference, but what I want you to pay attention to as I move that slider is these buttons up here, okay, or these numbers, I should say. If I move this slider to the left, you're going to see the numbers getting closer together, and what that's basically doing is showing you measure numbers. So now if you notice, this is jumping from measure 17 all the way to measure 20. So basically what you're doing is you're zooming out. And as you move it this way, you're zooming in more so you can see the individual measure numbers. And there they are. Like there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, and you could even bring it to the point where it zooms even more. So like, for instance, half of our screen here is almost being taken up by measure 1. And that's convenient when you really need to see a sound wave or something that's recorded. So for now, I'm just going to kind of put it somewhere in the middle. Okay, if I move down to these bottom corners, this says Create New Track. This is a very convenient button that we're going to be using throughout, and I'm going to show you this in a moment, how to create different types of tracks. We mentioned that our first track up there is a MIDI track, which is going to use internal sounds that are found within GarageBand. There are other types of tracks that we can add, like live sound or samples or loops. If we move over a button here to the one that looks like a little eyeball, this is a view or hide the loop browser. When we add a loop in later, and I'm going to show you how to do that, if you click on this eye, this is going to show you different types of loops that we can add in. So by clicking that eye, it's going to make that little window pane available. So right now we're going to close it. And by the looks of this, it's a view or hide the track editor. So when you click on this, this is where you can really pinpoint something that you've recorded and take a good look at what's going on there, and you can edit it a lot more easily with that clicked. So we're going to close that for now. Okay, so we've got one track here. What I'm going to show you how to do really quickly is to add a track, record a MIDI file, add a loop in, and add in a live recording really quick. So first thing I'm going to do is add 2 tracks. I'm going to leave my MIDI track up here as piano. I'm going to add in another track. Now, when I hit that Add Track button, it's going to ask me if I want to add a software instrument track, which is a MIDI track, which we already have, or if I want to add a real instrument track for recordings such as voice, guitar, bass, or any instrument that can be captured by a microphone. Since I don't have any actual instruments being run into my computer right now, I'm going to use the built-in microphone so that I can record something into GarageBand. So we're going to add a real instrument track, and I'm going to hit Create. And when I hit Create, if you notice now, because my microphone is on and this track is highlighted, you can see that the bar is moving up and down, showing that it's getting an input from the microphone built into the computer. Now, I want to change this name, which we'll do later. I'm going to show you, once we do each track, we can actually name it so we remember what's on that track. But for now, it's really simple. I mean, actually, we can do it now. I just double-clicked it, basically, and you can see now it's going to let me change it. So right now, we're going to call it My Voice. Okay. Now, I haven't actually recorded anything on that. It's because it's highlighted that you're seeing this go. If I shut off the Enable button, the Enable Recording button, you're going to see that that is now not going up and down in the bar because I've disabled that track. If I click it again, now you're going to see it's moving up and down. Now, it's not actually going to record until I come down to the bottom of the screen and I press the record button. Okay, before we do that, we're going to add another track in, and this is the track that we're going to use to put some samples in, and we're going to make this another software instrument track, but this time instead of using a MIDI track, we're going to add a loop in there. So I'm going to hit create. That's going to add me a new one, and this is where we're going to add our loop. So what I'm going to do to start off right now is I'm going to go down here to the little I, and I'm going to pick some sort of loop that we want to use here. I think I'm going to use a drum kit. So I'm going to go here to kits, and this has all different types of drum kits, and there's different things that you can pick. Now they're categorized by different types of music, and then over here you'll see each one. So I'm going to go into rock and blues, and I'm just going to pick one. Let's go with, I don't know, Funky Pop Drum '09. And if I click on it, it's going to play that loop. And right now it's just looping over and over. Okay, if I hit it again, it shuts off. Simply, very, very simply, all I have to do, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here with my little slider so I can see a little bit better. Okay, that's good. I'm going to simply take this, grab it with my mouse, and drag it right over here. And I see that it's going to put that beat in there for 2 measures. Just to keep things simple, I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to put it in here 4 times so that it's going to carry over 4 measures. And it's simple. It's as simple as copy and pasting. Now you can copy and paste by using the Apple C button and then the Apple V button, which will paste it. Or you could grab it. Oops. You can grab it and literally just put it back up there again. Or you can do it the old school way, go under File, hit, under Edit, hit Copy, put it where you want, and then hit Paste. Oh, my cursor was in the wrong spot, sorry. And hit Paste, and there it is. Okay? So it simply just kept pasting it. Okay? So now I've got my loop in there, and if I were to hit play, oh, my cursor was after it, so hold on. And a good thing to know also is that the space bar is the stop button. If you hit the space bar, your song will stop playing. Now, this is just going to move this back and forth, but it's not actually going to move my cursor. If I want to get this cursor back to the beginning, I could simply hit this rewind button here, which will start at the beginning. This is my play button. If I hit this, my loop should play. Again, if I go up here and I hit this button here, this will mute the track. It's still playing, but I just can't hear it. Now it's playing again. And there I have a loop built into my song. And I'm going to just stop it with my space bar. All right, next thing I'm going to do is show you how to record your voice. Now, since I just clicked on this track up here, it's automatically highlighted and it's automatically enabled. The other ones are not enabled right now. So I'm only going to record on this track that says my voice. Very simple. I'm going to go ahead and hit the record button. When I hit the record button, it's going to start recording. Now, by default, you're going to see under, under control, the metronome is checked. If you have the metronome checked, a clicking sound is going to keep the tempo for you. However, it's going to come out of the speakers on your computer. If that metronome is clicked, you're going to hear that click track throughout your whole recording. It's actually going to record that sound. If you're not using headphones, you need to shut that off. Otherwise, you're going to record the metronome itself. So I'm going to unclick that right now because I don't want to hear that clicking throughout. However, I do want to count it. I'm going to click this. What this is going to do is going to give me 4 metronome clicks right before the song starts, just to give me a little lead in before my beat starts. All right, I'm going to go ahead and rewind the song all the way back. So we're at the beginning, and as soon as I hit this record button, I'm going to get 4 clicks, and then it's going to start recording. I'm just going to make something up. Here we go. Now I'm recording my voice over this beat, over this beat. I'm gonna record my voice over this funky pop drum beat, and now my song is over. And simply all I did was hit my space bar to stop the recording. Okay, so now I can go back and I can listen, and it's going to play both of my tracks. So here we go, we rewind and we hit play. Now I'm recording my voice over this beat, over this beat. And again, record my voice over this. By hitting that mute button, I just took my voice out. I can also take out the drum part at some point, or if I want to, I can also solo something, which is really useful when you've got multiple tracks going, which we're going to have in a second, because now we're going to record a MIDI track. Now, I also don't have an external keyboard connected, so I'm going to use this little keyboard that's right here. Now, it's not the easiest thing to use with a mouse, so I'm just going to make a little noise by swiping my mouse back and forth on the keyboard. We're going to add that in. So we're going to record this MIDI track now. And since we're recording MIDI and not a live track, we don't have to worry about the other sounds being recorded. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to hit the record button. Well, I'm going to rewind my song back, hit the record button, and we're going to be able to now record that piano track. Here we go. Now I'm recording my voice over this beat, over this beat. I'm gonna record my voice over this funky pop drum beat, and now my song is over. Okay, and there we have it. We now have a MIDI track, a voice track, and a loop all present. So let's go back and we're going to listen to that. Now I'm recording my voice over this beat, over this beat. I'm going to record my voice over. Okay, now for instance, if I was playing this and I wanted to solo just the piano, I'm going to show you how that's done. I'm going to hit play. Now I'm recording my voice. And then I just press the solo button, and it muted these two tracks. This funky pop drum beat, and now my song is over. So there you have it. There's how you can do some basic tracks in GarageBand. And if you want to adjust the volumes of each track, you can do that here. You can bring the piano down, or the voice up, or the drum kit down or up, or whatever you want. You can even pan them left and right if you wish. Thank you very much. This is the first GarageBand tutorial.